أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We're going to read chapter 72, okay, the jinn, and 28 verses. So we're going to finish it tonight, inshallah. And please go ahead, Mom.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Say, it has been revealed to me that a number of jinns listened, then said, we indeed heard a wonderful Quran. It guides to the right path. We have therefore believed in it, and we will never set up anyone as a partner for our Lord. And he is indeed exalted, our majestic Lord. He neither had a spouse nor a son. And indeed only the fools amongst us uttered such outrageous lies about God. And we never thought that humans and jinns could ever utter lies about God. And indeed there were a group of men among humans who took refuge with a group of men jinns, but this only increased their burden. And they thought for sure, just like you thought, that God will never resurrect anyone. And we touched the sky. We then found it full of stern guards and projectiles. We indeed used to sit in stations to listen, but anyone who listens will find a watchful projectile chasing him. And we surely do not know whether the worst is intended for those on the land or whether their Lord wills to guide them. And indeed, some of us are righteous and some of us less than that. We follow different paths. And we know that we can never defeat God throughout the land, nor can we frustrate him by fleeing. And once we heard the guidance, we believed in it. Consequently, whoever attains faith in his Lord, then he will never fear adversity and never suffer any humiliation. And surely some of us are peace offerers and some of us are compromisers. As for those who are at peace, then they have found guidance. And as for the compromisers, they will be fuel for Gehenna. Had they remained on the straight path, we would have provided for them abundant water, for we test them therewith. As for the one who turns away from the commemoration of his Lord, he will cause him an increasing suffering. And surely the mosques belong to God, hence do not call upon anyone with God. And yet indeed, when God's servants stood up calling him, they almost all banded together to oppose him. Say, I only call upon my Lord and do not set up anyone as a partner for him. Say, I indeed do not possess any harm or benefit for you. Say, no one can protect me from God, and I will never find another refuge besides him. I am only to deliver from God his messages, and anyone who disobeys God and his messenger, then indeed awaiting him is the fire of Gehenna, wherein he abides forever. Finally, when they see what is promised to them, they will then realize who has the weakest helper and is fewest in number. Say, I do not know whether what is promised is near, or my Lord will delay it. He is the knower of all secrets, and he does not reveal it to anyone except to a messenger whom he chooses. He gives excerpts from the past and the future to behold. This is in order for him to know that they have delivered all their Lord's messages, and he fully encompasses everything they do, and he has assigned a number to everything.
Okay, mashallah. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, are there any questions, any comments, any observations?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I think this chapter to me is important because when they talk about the jinns all through the Quran, they're almost maybe even superhuman or above the law or whatever. But this chapter clearly states that they're bound by the same laws that we are in terms of God, and that
Yep.
God is in control of them just as much as anything else He controls.
Exactly. Yep.
So I appreciate that this
Yep.
and then I like the fact I think it was Mahmoud that reminded us too that they were told to be quiet when they're reading the Quran to be quiet and listen. So it might be a parallel universe or whatever they're living in dimension rather, but they are bound. So we don't have to be afraid, and we don't have to also go to them for anything because they got just what we got. All right, thank you.
Well, I mean, they have a spectrum of different beings that they have different ideas and different ideologies and different beliefs,
Right.
and so they're explained just like us, So, yep, very good, very good. Okay, are there any other comments, any questions, any observations?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam. Yes, Nishad, go ahead, please.
So, are jinns going through a test just like human beings too?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the heavenly dispute that happened, it wasn't just humans that chose the wrong side, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to call it heavenly feud. Okay, I just call it there was just a disagreement that these people had with God, and God allowed them to do that because that was His thing. That God has not created automatons, and they are going to make up their mind and make up a decision. They have the right to question, and it goes on through the angels. The angels also ask questions, and they God answers them, and they have freedom of speech and everything, and so these guys, they decided to do this. Okay, so and Satan was the leader of these guys, and he decided to rebel against God, but it wasn't that it just, as I said, it's a matter of giving these people free will. If you catch the meaning of it, that it's not a dictatorial realm that God has created, and he gives his creation choice, and they have either refuse it. Even when God says that we have this keepsake that we have given to the human beings, the other ones like the sky and the vacuum and matter and everything, it was offered, and the mountains was offered to them, and they refused. So they have a choice. Okay, so this things that we have, that we chose this way of existence. It was our choice, and so everything that God creates has a choice, and so this if you call it feud, I don't call it feud. I just say that this was part of the choice that they had, and they made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And so making the wrong choice goes against the truth that God has created, and falsehood that they were promoting is going to destroy everything. It's not going to reproduce anything. It's not going to produce anything. Only the truth produces things, and we see it from these numbers that we study every week. That how it's designed, how beautifully it's designed.
And although jinns, we I think I assume they are the armies of Satan. They still have the chance to go to the right way.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
I
God. Yeah.
go ahead, sir.
Yeah. God has given them an option and the choice that if they study it, and like these guys, they said that it has been revealed to me that a number of jinns listened. And they said, we indeed heard a wonderful Quran. So, some of them do this. This says, you see, it has been that a number of jinns, not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, with the same thing in here. Okay, so we have this Quranic study, and some people listen, some people don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, it's the same way. As I said, it's a spectrum, if you will. It's a spectrum of beliefs and faithfulness, and, just like us. And,
And human being thinks that jinns have this superpower in know everything. Obviously, they don't know everything because they didn't even know about Quran or that Trinity, because it said we never thought that humans or jinns can utter any lie about God. So obviously, they don't know. I mean, even with Solomon, they were like they didn't know he was dead. So they don't have the superpower that we think they have.
No.
Or some people think they have.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it said that some of them they mingle together and they produce nothing good. But the point is that as you said, I mean, it was very obvious in the case of Solomon that they didn't know that he was dead. Okay, I mean, otherwise they would not go through the humiliation of serving him. But until a small rodent or something passed by and knocked off his staff and he fell over and said, "Oh my, yeah, he's dead." It's exactly true.
I think it's Surah Al-Rahman that talks about the two heaven or two paradises, one for humans, one for jinns.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. In that case, I mean, it's just they have different tastes. Okay,
right.
So if that's why God says that one for jinns and one humans, because if for us fruit is very good. For example, we enjoy. For this, if you give jinn fruit, it's like giving us paper to chew or something. So it's not any good. Okay, so they have their own taste, allegorically. Let's put it that way, that they enjoy. So that's why God says there is a heaven for them.
Yeah. I guess they get messengers too, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So, Dr. Fazely, that just shows you how bad hell is if he's going to put the jinns and humans together in hell.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Very, very good point. Yes, that's true. Yeah. So in hell there is no. Yeah, you got to chew paper. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Jerry. Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for Juma and the message, the numbers, everything mind-boggling. But I did have a question this week about what we're talking about, the jinns. I was reading Surah 26:22. It says, "Shall I inform you of those whom the demons descend upon?" And then 26:222 says, "They descend upon every fabricator sinner." So here's my question. Now, the human being has two recording angels around us all the time, right? Recording everything we do. Is that what we do? Two recording angels around us all the time. Two honest recorders around us all the time.
Yes.
Okay. And the human being is born or whatever. And there's a jinn being assigned to us, and so we have the free will. So if we got the human being, he has the two honest recorders around us recording all the time. And then you have the human, the jinn, and then we have the inspiration from God, which is the positive side. So these two are battling, the jinn, the negative spirit, and so when the human being takes his free will and makes his decision on which path he's going on, which is the God-inspired path or the negative jinn-inspired path, at what point is that demon already that jinn that's side by side with you, whispering to you all the negativity all the time? or does a demon descend upon us? I know once you make the decision and get off the path, the demon is on you then. So I was just, it was just great that you guys are talking about this right now, and I was just all week on this right here. So alhamdulillah, I just had a little question about that as far as the human being, what's around us. Are we assigned a jinn with us on one side and from birth, and that jinn's job is to convince us to take the wrong path, and then the spirit of God and the instinct of God is in us, the one that want to be faithful, and they choose the right path, which is the free will, either way you go. So, but at what point shall I inform you? Now, there was one demon in 2739 that says, a demon from the jinns said, I can bring it to you before you can stand up. And indeed, I am powerful and honest. So, just a lot of things about the jinns. So, alhamdulillah, I'm all over the place, but alhamdulillah, thank you, Dr. Fazely.
Okay, very good. I mean, it's I think the best place to go is 4336. It says, as for the one who turns away from commemorating the all-gracious, we appoint a demon to be his constant companion. Okay? So, this is why I stress so much about the salat, that, that we have to maintain our salat and make sure that we remember it and we do it on time. Otherwise, this is going to what happened to you. Okay? If you do not commemorate God, if you turn away from it, if you play hooky with this salat, okay?
Alhamdulillah, that really that right there just cleared up everything I had in my head right there, 43:36, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. A shaitan is a fallen jinn, basically. It's a jinn has gone the wrong way, and it's a misleader and somebody who's mischievous, and it's somebody who's rebelling against God. So, and that would be the destiny of the people who turn away from God's commemoration. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Welcome, salam. Yes, Anwar. Go ahead, please.
If I go to 72:20, it says, "Say I only call upon my Lord and do not set up anyone as partner for him." Is this Muhammad talking?
Yes. I mean, this is what the story is. That's what he says. I mean, it's actually, I probably should have done this instead of revealed, inspired to me. But anyway, it says, "Qul uhiya," okay? Say it has been inspired to me that the number of jinns listened, then said, we have indeed heard a wonderful Quran. Okay, so when Muhammad was reciting the Quran, it was being revealed, they were listening.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. God says you cannot see them, but they can see you.
Yeah.
So,
but it seemed to be that from verse 20 up to the end, it is Muhammad that is saying the rest of the.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And it's interesting because, and he says that I do not possess any harm or benefit for you. And the other one says, the next one says, say, no one can protect me from God, and I will never find another refuge besides him.
Yes.
I am only to deliver from God his messages. Therefore, those people who invent the hadith saying Muhammad said so and so, which is not in accordance with what God says, is null and void, completely null and void.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Very good. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Any other comments or question, observations?
If I have a minute, I'd just like to say something, Dr. Fazely, that happened this week to me. There was an explosion on Roosevelt Island, and it's where I live, and it shook me up out of my bed, and pillow bed was shaking, whatever. I went into the bathroom, and then I looked up, and it was time for prayer, and then another explosion came. But I went to the window where I usually pray. I could see the bridge from there, and I could see all the fire department and everything coming. our way. But it was time for Fajr, and I wanted to run. I could feel running in my whole spirit, wanted to run. But there was something in my head. It was almost like I didn't have any will not to make the Fajr prayer because it was time. And so I sat there and closed my eyes and made it, even though I was petrified. And I'm like, this is so strange that whatever force was, it wouldn't let me just run. And well, anyway, at the end, it found out that we had an earthquake, and it was just a simple. It wasn't simple, but it was 1.7, which was nothing compared to Japan. But
exactly.
Like when you choose God, then He chooses you. He sort of puts things to guide you, so that when you would be astray, you can't really go. You almost start feeling your will becoming God's will and not your own. Because my whole thing was just run and get to where I don't know. But I'm just saying, instead I made my Fajr, and it wasn't me. It wasn't that I chose it. I don't feel like I chose it. I just felt like God chose me to make it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, God sends tranquility, you see, at that time. And so although you may be apprehensive because of, things beyond your control, God actually sends security and contentment to you, and, it makes everything okay. That's the idea. Yep.
He did. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but until it happens, you said you don't know what you do, and God said go to war. You might say, yeah, I'm going, but you don't know what you're going to do until it happens. And for me, I was going to run, but God wouldn't let me run, So
yeah, you really don't know what to run. That's the question. You see.
That's actually the truth. I had no direction.
You may get to a place which is even more dangerous than the place that you're in. So, yeah, very good. Okay. I just want to make a point on these verses here that verse 18 of this chapter 72. Okay, so this verse says, "And surely the mosques belong to God. Hence, do not call upon anyone with God." Okay, so any place that you start your prostration, like when you do your prayers, that place is a mosque. It's a place of prostration, and so that time you cannot mention anyone or call upon anyone besides God. Okay, and so these things also, if you look at chapter 20, I think it's verse maybe 10 or something. We'll go there and we'll find it. Whoops. Yeah, 20, 10, we'll go and see what that's there. Okay. And he saw a fire, okay, and then this is the case of Moses, okay. When he saw a fire, he then said to his family, "Stay put. I've seen a fire. Maybe I will bring back part of it, or I find guidance by the fire." And when he reached it, he was called, "O Moses, I am indeed your Lord. Therefore take off your shoes. You are indeed in the sacred plain of Torah." And then God tells him, "And I have chosen you. Therefore listen to what is being inspired. I am indeed God. There is no other God except me. You shall then worship me and observe the contact prayer to commemorate me." Okay? I mean, I don't understand how more in a clear way that God can actually stress this fact. This is, you see, in this case, God is directly talking to Moses. And he is using first person singular, which means I am indeed God. Okay, innani Allah. Okay, la ilaha illa ana. I am indeed God. There is no other God except me. Then he tells Moses, "You shall then worship me and observe the contact prayer to commemorate me." Okay? I mean, this is so clear. And he tells them that you cannot call upon anything else. You cannot commemorate anybody else during Salat except God. Okay. And so we go to that one, 72:18. Okay. Come on. Okay, 72:18. Okay. And it says, and surely the mosques belong to God, no one else. Okay. Hence, do not call upon anyone with God. And then what happens? And yet indeed, when God's servant stood up calling him, they almost all banded together to oppose him. Everybody opposed the messengers. See? Everybody, no matter who they are. They make an excuse not to listen. They make an excuse. They're looking for an excuse, okay, to get away, to avoid the message. Okay. And the message says that, look, you are not supposed to do this. You're supposed to only call upon God alone and no one else. Okay. As I said, they cannot be any more clear than what we just read here. It cannot. Okay. So, and then furthermore, it says that, say, I only call upon my Lord and do not set up anyone as partner for him, as a partner for him. Okay. There is no one who owns any partnership with God. He cannot call upon anybody. He cannot have a partner in worship. It has to be directed to him alone and no one else. Okay. So as you know now, this is 72:19, which is the emirp of 9127 actually. Okay, this verse here, 72:19, which is 9127 actually written backwards. Okay, so if you go to our let's see here, what do we have? If I go to our okay. So, and search for 72:19. Okay, there it is, the 15th. Okay, so it's one of the permutation of 9127. Okay, so let me go back to the top and then search for it. Okay, see the emirp of 9127 is 72:19, which is the 156 emirp. The sum of these two emirps are 156 plus 197, which is 353. 353 is the frequency of Hamim in chapter 42. 353 also happens to be the exponent of the 19th Gaussian Mersenne prime. Okay, so it connects this again to what? To initials in the Quran. Okay. That's why you keep reading in those initials in the Quran. These are the signs, these are the proofs of this clarifying scripture. Keep saying that over and over again in the Quran, because there are links between that and all of these verse structures in the Quran. Okay. Okay, any questions, any comments, any observations this chapter or any other place?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum assalam. Yes, go ahead, please.
Could you, I know you explained it in the past, and I was very happy to hear it because when it comes to jinn, I don't have that much knowledge, but I can't recall it. If you don't mind, could you explain what, when we talk about jinns, what are we referring to, if you don't mind?
You mean jinns are? What
Yes.
are jinns? Is
Yes.
that what you're asking? Yeah.
Yes.
It says that God says that jinns are God's creation. Okay?
Yes.
They're supposed to be made of fire, okay? And we are made of matter. That's what God says. So they are a creation of God. And Satan was one of those guys. He said God says that he says I'm better than he is. That's what Satan, when God actually says that you shall honor Adam to all the angels, and they say that they all do it except for Iblis, and Iblis' argument is that he is better than Adam, because you say you created me from fire and you created him from clay, so he's better than him. So that racism that he had, it's basically was his downfall, because he disobeyed God's commandment, and it was below his dignity to obey God's order and God's commandment. But they're just simply another of God's creation.
Okay, thank you very much. And in the Quran, it explains that jinns and humans, disbelievers, are going to go to hell. But when it comes to heaven, does it actually say they're going to have a different heaven? Because the one that is explaining in 55:46, that one is in bracket. Only it says they're going to be two heaven. And then in so many verses, it talks about heavens, like the gardens, or higher heaven and lower heaven. And it was explained very well. But I looked everywhere. I couldn't find any verses that emphasize jinns are going to have their own heaven and humans are going to separate heaven.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, okay, let me just put it this way. It is really not important to dwell on this question, okay,
Correct.
because it's irrelevant, okay? What God does, let God do it. And as I said, God is telling us that the allegory means example. It's not the clear thing. So we have no idea, okay, no idea how heaven is, or how bad hell is. So God allegorically tells us that this is or example of heaven is like this, and example of hell is like this. So the same thing with the jinns, okay? So when God is talking to them or bringing up examples for them, as I said, God is careful enough, let's put it that way, to tell them things that actually good for them, that they like. They're different creatures, okay? As I said, if I tell a jinn I'm going to give you some fruit, some oranges, okay? It's like telling me that here, this piece of wood, chew on it, okay? It's not palatable to the taste. So they have to have their own stuff, and that's what God is saying in that. So it's allegorical. These are all examples. So we should not dwell in this, because this is just a waste of time and gets us away from the message of the Quran, which we just read in chapter 72, okay? That says that we have to worship God alone, and the jinns are saying the same thing too. Okay, so the rest of it is irrelevant. It's not important.
Okay, but they have their own Rasuls, correct? Because
it doesn't matter. As I said, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let God do it. Okay? Let God do it. It doesn't matter where they go. It's not going to do me any harm or any good where people are going to end up. Okay? I have to worry about my own neck. I have to make sure that I am worshiping God alone. Okay, the rest of the stuff is not relevant to us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anything else? Any?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Mahmoud. Yes, go ahead, please.
Salam, everyone. Verse 16. Verse 16 mentions that they remain on the straight path. We would have provided for them abundant water.
Yep.
And we know water is the source of life.
Yeah.
And basically, what I see here is, if you stayed on the path, you will be given life.
Yeah.
And that's what that water symbolizes.
Yep.
That you will have life. But if you disregard, then you will have a bad life, as we see in chapter 20, verse 124. It says, those who disregard my commemoration or dhikr, same as this word here in 17, you will have a miserable life. But if you are upholding the message and God alone, and do not set any partners, you will have abundant water, or you will have a life. And in 18, I like going, always we translated the places of worship, as Rashad did at that as well. But this kind of, the word is masjid. And you stayed with mosque.
Yeah, I know. On the mosque to masjid, yeah. I mean, the reason I went back to mosque, because when you tell people in this country mosque, they know what a mosque is.
Right.
They read masjid, then they're going to be confused what is masjid, okay? And I mean, not that many people are going to read this, but anyway, this has that unique, the scriptures usually have the unique, property that, they are left alone and nobody reads them. And, they don't want to read it because, as I said, people have more important things in their lives. And worshiping God alone is basically way out there. Who cares? Okay. And, it's, they don't care about this. But as I said, these are very clear. All of these are very clear. And it is the clarity of the situation is just so overwhelming that people have to abide by it, and obviously it's up to people what the choice is.
What I meant was not masjid, but mosque. Was Rashad put places of worship as a general.
Yeah.
But this goes straight to those who are calling all kind of names in the mosque. And but Prophet Muhammad, they don't see as them calling the Prophet, even though they're calling him more than God, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And is that green, is that a sequential reveal? I see 39:45. It's when God alone is mentioned.
No, that's actually the count of the composite verses from the beginning of the Quran.
Wow.
So 39:45, I think, if you go to chapter 39, verse 45, you run to that famous verse, okay?
Yeah, when God alone is measure.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So you go to 39:45, and there it is. When God alone is mentioned, the hearts of those who do not believe in the hereafter sicken. But when okay, do not believe in the hereafter, sicken. But when others are mentioned besides him, they rejoice. Okay, so this is something that they like to do. They like to call upon their idols, and once they do that, they feel better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Any other comments or question, observations?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum salam. Yes.
I just want to share another ayat with everyone is about taking partners for God, and I don't have the number written down, but it says the example of those who take allies besides God is like the female spider and her home.
Yeah.
Indeed, the most unnerving place is the home of the female spider, if they only knew. So if we taking partners for God, you should be shaking in your boots all the time. You have nothing solid. You are standing on nothing solid. You are absolutely should be unnerving all the time when you take partners for God. I just want to share that.
Yeah. It's a recipe for oblivion. Okay, one does that because this is the biggest lie. Okay, so now a partner for God is the biggest lie that somebody could attribute to God. And that's why God abhors it so much. Because it's a lie. Simple as that. And people cannot promote these lies. And they keep doing it and they see the consequence of these things. Okay? They're rejecting messengers. Okay? And, we read these things. Okay? It says, it's, if you go to chapter 6, verse 64, okay, it's right here. Okay, it says, say, God saves you from it and from, it says, say, who saves you, 63, who saves you from the darkness of the dry land and the sea when you call upon him desperately and silently, saying, if you save us from this, we would surely be grateful. Okay, say, God saves you from it and from every disaster, but you still set up partners for him. Okay, so they become mushrik again. This is somebody who is mushrik. This is somebody who assumes that God has a partner. Okay, say, he is powerful to bring upon you a suffering from above you or from beneath your feet, or he can divide you into groups and have you taste each other's tyranny. Okay, we talked about this. Note how we explain the signs that they may understand. But obviously they don't understand, okay? Just go about their business and do the same thing, okay? And your people have rejected in the past, in spite of being in the truth, say, I am not your advocate. The messenger is not their advocate. The messenger brings the message. If they accept the message, then they're going to be successful. If they don't do that, then this is what's going to happen. There's going to be wars. There are going to be all kinds of things. Okay? Rejection of God's messenger is not a game that people are playing. They're playing this game because they think this is a game. not a game. It's not a joke. It's a very serious business. It's going to bring you disaster, left and right.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely, real quick. Dr. Fazely?
Yes.
Yes, I just want to share when I was in the United States Navy and we were out to sea and the ships got really, this is so true that when the seas got rough, every man on that ship, 300 sailors down in the kitchen mess deck with candlelight vigils while praying to God. But when that ship hit the shore, it was a completely, absolutely total disregard.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Okay, let me just go to the last verse here, and I'm going to talk about this. This is very important. Okay, it says God says that He says here that 26. Okay, He is the knower of all secrets, and He does not reveal it to anyone except to a messenger whom He chooses. He gives excerpts from the past and the future to behold. This is in order for Him to know that they have delivered all their Lord's messages, and He fully encompasses everything they do, and He has assigned a number to everything. Okay, so this is God's system, and so we see that from these mathematics that we study every week, and these revelations that we get. Okay, so we're basically ahead of everybody else by God's grace. Okay, so people who are eager to log on and listen to this, and they are in a completely different realm and different universe. You're not in the same boat as the rest of the people are. Okay, and we learn so much every day, and all of these learning and discoveries that we have is basically adds to God's greatness. Okay. Yep. Okay, so again, this is God is telling us, and as I said, this is how God creates things and numbers things, and this is, again, it goes back to the respect that God has for His creation. That every entity is important, no matter how small or how large. Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, anything else before we quit for tonight? Okay, very good. So let's do the usual 2 al-Fatihas that we do, okay, and then we'll quit for tonight, okay? Bismillah ar-Rahman